Welcome, everyone, to the School of Greatness podcast. Very excited about our guest today. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Daymond John. Good to
Thanks
see
for
you,
having
man.
me.
Thanks for being here. Very excited about your book. It just came out. It's called The Power of Broke. Make sure you guys go grab this right now. Highly recommend it. A bunch of my mutual friends are featured in here, so it was cool to see that we know some of the same people.
Amazing people. Big brains.
Big brains doing some big things and trying to all emulate what you've created. You've created a huge brand, obviously. And
thank you.
You've since the FUBU brand, you've been well known for being on Shark Tank. So congratulations for all the success of the show and all the opportunities.
It's a fun ride. It's amazing.
It's amazing, right? Yeah. How many seasons is that now?
Seventh. This is our seventh season. Sure.
Wow, it's crazy. What's been the craziest thing that's happened in the last 7 seasons for you?
The craziest thing for me personally, you're saying?
Yeah, from Shark Tank, let's say.
So you're asking on Shark Tank or in the last 7 years?
Let's say on
Shark Tank love.
Let's say any of that. Yes.
Well, because of the Shark Tank love, I got put on this public pedestal where people started to understand that people started to understand that Shark Tank carpet, that entrepreneur that stands on that carpet. It doesn't discriminate against creed, color, religion, sex. It's the ultimate equalizer, right? That empowerment is the ultimate equalizer, and no matter who you are in this great country that we live in, you have a shot. And with that acknowledgement, I was appointed as a presidential ambassador of global entrepreneurship, a page ambassador by President Obama in the White House, and I'm one of several. People such as Tory Burch and Steve Case are on there, and I had the privilege of going to Kenya with the president and the White House. Wow. and visiting Kenya and spreading the word of entrepreneurship, of how it can empower you, and it can help you feed your family and help you empower others when, this, unfortunately, the world we live in, when you don't have hope, other people tend to thrive off of that and ask you to be part of whatever their cause is, and you feel that that's the only hope you have. But if now you can have a smartphone, you can open up a smartphone and make a couple of dollars, and you can hopefully feed your husband, wife, kids, and empower yourself, you're less likely to go and do some things that aren't in the best interest of humans.
Sure.
And mankind.
Right. I want to start from the beginning briefly and ask, who was the most influential person in your childhood growing up, and what was the biggest lesson they taught you?
That by far would be my mother. I never realized the lessons that she taught me until I ended up becoming, a parent myself, and realizing that I ended up following all the steps or all the mistakes I made. Many of the mistakes I made, my mother had advised me that those were going to be mistakes, but she never stopped me from going down the path, because she wanted me to make those mistakes on my own and learn. So she's always been the number one important mentor that I've ever had. And then, life is a series of mentors. I went on from there, and, I had one great teacher, and that's all you need is one really great teacher in school that makes you feel really special. And then I had a mentor who owned a corner store in my neighborhood, and he would teach me and explain to me, his business tactics. And then my mother ended up having a boyfriend who I call my stepfather, who was actually of the Jewish faith, and he taught me that love doesn't come in a color or a gender, and that for me to be very proud of my culture, but don't be anti anything else and respect everybody. So I think that gave me a broader look at life, and I never walked in the room with a chip on my shoulder. I also never thought anybody else was better than me, but I never thought anybody had it better than me too, because people of all colors have challenges in life, dreams and aspirations. So those things all led me, to be the man that I am, and I'm very happy of those experiences.
Yeah. And what got you into, or being interested into the fashion world, into clothing world?
Well, it was this new music that was coming out of the Bronx right around 1982, 83. It was called, rap music. And it made its way into Queens, where I lived. And his music was amazing. It was fascinating. And before that, I would listen to music. Great people like, of course, rest in peace, David Bowie and Rolling Stones and Donna Summer, Stevie Wonder, Barry White. But all these people had this beautiful way of singing. They had this orchestra and everything else. And they touched on some of the political issues in the world. But this music that was coming out of the Bronx named rap, it was kind of like our version of Twitter today, I always say. It was like a disruptive technology because I started to hear about other kids, their hopes and their dreams, their aspirations, the plights of the neighborhood, things that I wouldn't be able to see on the news. And they were putting it in a rhythmic form, and it was starting to educate us, and it came with a way not only to listen to music, but a way to walk, talk, and even dress.
Yeah.
And you felt like you were part of this society if you wore your Adidas with fat laces on, or you knew how to break dance. And that's where I sort of find my identity as a young man. So that's really where fashion started.
Right.
With me. I wouldn't know till, I was about 12 years old. I wouldn't know till probably about another 10 years, 15 years that maybe we should all do something that we love.
Right.
I tried everything else.
Yeah.
But I never thought about fashion. It's kind of like, you bust your butt to go and work and make a living, and then you go out and on the weekends you kind of snowboard and do all stuff like that, but you never thought about busting your butt building snowboard or snowboarding and making money.
Right. Like Rob Dyrdek, your buddy Rob Dyrdek.
Exactly. Yeah. Rob's in the book as well, of course.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how old were you when you sold your first article of clothing?
How old was I? It was I know the date. I know exactly the date. It was 1989, Good Friday, 3:00 in the afternoon, 37 degrees outside. I stood outside the Coliseum Mall in 1989, so I was 20 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. 20 years old.
20 years old.
When did you have? How old were you when you said you had the passion for?
I had the passion at 10, 11, 12. I had a passion for fashion earlier on in my life prior to that as well, but it was really my mother was dressing me because we didn't, not really when I was 4 or 5 or 6, because we didn't have enough money to go buy clothes, so she would sew them.
Interesting.
Sometimes the pocket would be hanging up in the back somewhere, but it was okay.
So what gave you? When did you decide that you had the permission to go create your own things or sew them in the basement and then go sell them? What gave you that, belief in yourself that you could create this?
You know what? Again, like most of us start, there was no belief that I could do it, but I remember walking into a store, and I started to see cross colors everywhere, and then I walked in the store, and I saw this picture of this guy who looked like a young Mike Tyson hanging off a pair of jeans, and it was Carl Kanai. And then it just hit me. I thought prior to that, we always thought that you had to be from Italy and France to design. You had to be older and like a the guys with the tape around their neck, the tailors, right? Sure. And so, or whatever the fashion designers had looked like in those days. And I thought I'm just supposed to buy from them. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Okay, no problem. Then I'm watching a De La Soul video, I remember, and seeing them wearing these hats. It almost looked like a ski cap, but it has like a tie on the top, and I couldn't find that hat anywhere in Queens. I finally find one uptown Manhattan. I pay for the hat. I come home. I show my mother. I said, "Look, Ma, I paid. I always say a joke. I paid $6,000 gas, $900 in tolls, and $20 for the hat. Check this out." And she goes, "That's a piece of crap. But I could show you how to sew hats like that, so you can sew as many as you want, so you can wear them. You don't have to do that. So go get $40 worth of fabric. I go to the store, get $40 worth of fabric. I come home. I give my mother the stuff to sew the hats, and she says, "I'm not sewing this. You're sewing this." I said, "Oh crap! Now I got to work at this." I sew the hats, and then all of a sudden, I have all these hats and only one head, because it's not like I was too stupid or I wasn't thinking. Thank God I didn't buy $40 worth of different fabric. I bought $40 worth of the same fabric.
You only needed one maybe every 3 years.
Yeah. So anyway, that's when it happened. That's when I went out and sold those hats outside on that Good Friday, and I sold $800 worth of hats in 1 hour. And that's when it just snapped. I just said to myself, wait a minute. I made this with my own hands. I went and sold this to individuals, and nobody was in my way. I didn't have to get a check from a boss. Nobody told me when or to come to work or go to work. I can't get fired from this because of my color, creed, or whatever the case is. I'm responsible for what's happening here, and I will either fail because every decision I make, I'll succeed because every decision I make.
Was that the first time that you made money on your own as an entrepreneur, or were you?
No. I made money on my own and lost money on my own as an entrepreneur. I started my first business. It took me a long time to really decide what I want to do and what was my first business. It took me forever to decide my first business. But my first business, I finally decided what I wanted to do when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
It took me forever,
Okay.
right? I was selling pencils in school.
Wow.
And then I would go ahead and sell candy, and then when it snowed, I would shovel snow in the winter, rake leaves in the fall, and then I remember when I used to shovel snow, I used to go and kids would want to help me because I started getting everybody in the blocks that I wanted to. I would travel about 3 miles and take care of it. Kids would want to help me, so I would tell them, okay, no problem. Here's what you're going to do. If you're going to help me, I'm going to let you work. I'm going to give you a couple. Let's split the money with you. But you got to do a spring cleanup for free so we can go back into spring. And then I would go to the owners of the house and say, well, everybody else on the block, if they shovel your snow, they're charging you $3. If I shovel your snow 3 times during the winter, I'm going to give you a free spring cleanup. So I was leveraging all those little guys in the neighborhood.
I love it.
Ah, man, that was a great business.
Now, when did you realize that you kind of, the $800 first day might have been a great first day, but when did you realize, like, okay, I have something actually that is consistently getting results? I mean, was it just easy for you after that? For the next year, you were just making $800 every day, and then it just kept growing? Or was there like, oh, there's some dry spells here, or I need to change where I'm promoting it?
Like anything in business, it was always a dry spell here, a dry spell there. But in all reality, my friends and I, we love selling the hats. Why? Because there was a reason to talk to girls on the street.
There you go.
Right?
That's why we do a lot of things.
Of course
right?
we do. That's why we do a lot of things. Everything, right? If we didn't have women in the world, we'd all be walking around barefoot and just, no teeth, right?
Exactly.
But, then I would start going to the Black Expos, where there was like a basic flea market on the road, and I would try to sell shirts there. Why? Because girls were there.
Right.
But also, we were really passionate about what we were doing, and we started getting that high when we sold stuff at a Black Expo, and then we go to another one and we see somebody wearing it. I go, wow.
That's pretty cool.
And that's when they came back and started saying, man, I tell everybody about this shirt, and they asked me for it, so I need to buy 3 now because I got to buy it for everybody. And we started saying, wow. Right? And it just became so exciting. I would have normally paid to go to the Black Expo, to go around and buy stuff or see stuff. And then, we happen to live in Hollis, Queens. There's a lot of music artists in Hollis, Queens. Obviously, Salt and Pepper, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Tribe Called Quest. A lot of them come from there. We didn't really know them, but we knew all their friends. But then all of a sudden we heard, we were saying, well, can we get something in a video? And they would go, yeah, come on down. And we go down to the video, and there's craft services. It's free to eat. As much food as you want. You get to see somebody like LL Cool J performing a song. There's video vixens running around.
Girls everywhere.
I would have paid to go there. Meanwhile, I'm going there going, hey, put on a shirt. They put on a shirt, and then I'd say, man, I don't have any money I have a small company, so I really can't afford to lose that shirt. Can I have it back?
Really?
Yeah. And they
would
give
take
it back. And they would give it back, yeah.
Wow.
There's only one rapper who never gave the shirt back to me. Old Dirty Bastard, of course.
Okay, awesome.
If you expect to get anything back from a man named Old Dirty Bastard, there's bigger issues.
Exactly. It sounds like, what you did. When was this? What year was
this? Well, honestly, I opened Fubu in '89. I closed it three times because I ran out of capital from '89 to '92. So the story really goes from '89 to around '96.
Okay, cool. So 20 years ago, you were essentially the true branding expert who was leveraging the Instagram influencers of today. You were leveraging the music stars, the MTV stars,
yes,
and getting that social media out there on MTV,
sure,
as opposed to on Instagram, which is what brands are doing today. They're trying
Correct.
to find the top influencers and get their clothing on them.
Yeah, we always call FUBU the first hashtag of clothing.
There
so,
you go.
Yeah.
I like it. What would you say was the biggest challenge once you started to really take off and grow?
Yeah.
obviously as a small business owner, when a trend hits and everyone wants your product, how did you handle that, and what was the biggest challenge?
Scalability was very hard because it was, how do I go and finance and underwrite, these things? Where will I get the capital? What's the turnaround time? And I didn't have any financial intelligence at the time.
Right.
So, my journey.
You could sell and you could hustle and
I
promote.
could sell, I could hustle, but my journey, I almost failed and lost everything several times throughout that journey because I just didn't know how to use the tool of money.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to try to acquire all that knowledge within the same time. How do I acquire the knowledge of branding, marketing, distribution, manufacturing, warehousing, shipping, financial intelligence, customer support, return on goods, consumption, you know what I mean? It's so hard. So of course I had to start leveraging as well and creating a bunch of strategic relationships because I knew I needed that. Because, listen, when you tell somebody to stop smoking, a couple of times and after the 10th time, they know they already have a problem with smoking. They don't want to listen to you. Listen, forget it. I'm not even going to address it. I'm going to start smoking. When you have a business, you have to answer the call or you're closed. Right? So you have to plug the dam. And I knew I had to plug the dam. So I started just creating a lot of strategic relationships, and that's actually the power of broke. Because it is the fact that, if I would have had money when I went to those video sets, I would have paid the director, I would have paid the producer, I would have paid the rapper, everybody else, right? If you gave me $20,000 at that time, and I heard that LL Cool J will wear my stuff for $5,000, and the director wants $5,000 to wear it, they're getting the money.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. And they're going to wear it. But I got into 30, 40 videos with $0, right? Because I had no way to do it. And I had nothing to lose. You couldn't take anything from me. I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So
you couldn't even give me your shirt.
Right.
You took it back.
I took it back, right? And I said, I got you later.
Yeah,
right? Old Dirty Bastard said, you got me now. But when you're working with the power of broke, it does a couple of things. Number one, it makes sure that you learn the process yourself. You can't afford to hire anybody else. So all those people out there who pay $40,000 for a website when it really costs $5,000, right?
Or you can leverage it by bartering or something.
Whatever the case is, right? So you have to learn the process. And what happens during that period of time of learning the process is that when and if and hopefully you get to the point that you are successful, nobody can tell you lies. You can't have somebody say, well, I'm not going to tell you about shipping because, you're firing me and I got to go work it out yourself. I said, get the hell out of the way. I've been doing this for 8 years myself, right? You get and you learn the process, number one. Number two is because you don't have a lot of capital, you focus on the only thing that you can do. You don't drown in opportunity. You don't take a bunch of money and go, we should try a bunch of stuff. Here you go. Here's 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000 here.
Go.
Yeah, you go. All right, what are we going to do with this hat right now? So that's the process. And that process is very, very important. Also, you learn and it brings out the character of who you have around you when you operate the power of broke.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you're busy, let's open a business today. Let's go take a $100,000 loan. Well, what happens when the money goes away? Because when I didn't have anything, people worked with me for free, and I saw who rose to the challenge. I saw who jumped ship, right? I saw who were problem solvers and problem creators, and that's the process of activating the power of broke. Because to tell you the truth, the people who activate the power broke more than anybody else are the people who are successful, because that's how they stay successful.
Would you say that those individuals have a powerful vision and then are really great at enrolling others in that vision? Is that the key ingredient, or first, getting the team to do it essentially for? Absolutely,
but it's not that they have a powerful vision and they've enrolled everybody in the vision, but there's no reason for everybody who is enrolling into it to jump on a sinking ship or a bad idea. You see, we're going to get A on our report card. Sometimes we're going to get an F. So if my power of broke concept, I'm creating FUBU, they didn't wear it because I was giving the shirts away. They wore it because they had to dig in their pocket and they had to pull out their hard-earned money and buy it. Now, if you go out and you give 100 shirts away to all your friends and family, even if it's the nastiest looking shirt, somebody's going to feel bad for you, usually your mother,
Right.
and they're going to come to you and say, boy, son, I wore this at the store and they loved my shirt, right? Because that's mom.
Yeah, right.
Go try to sell that shirt to 100 people who couldn't give a crap about you,
Right.
who gonna dig in their pocket for $10. You want to get a what do you call it? A focus group.
Yeah.
Try going to Harlem like I used to and
sell
selling
it
shirts
on
and
the
selling
streets.
on the streets. Oh, they're gonna give you the focus group for free.
Exactly. They're going to love it or not. So would you say the power broke is more of a mindset or a way of being? What do you think?
It is a mindset. It is an absolute mindset. It is a way to think, and it is a way to know that, listen, if you really think about it, well, I can't come up with anything. I can't come up with anything of substance in my life. Relationship, whether it's personal relationship with family, friends, loved ones, that money ever was the reason the relationship worked. It never was. It was always a byproduct on a working relationship. It's like you're going out and dating a hot girl, right? Your first day, hey, how you doing? You pull up to her in a Bentley. Next day, buying her roses. Next day, buying her everything, right? Jewelry all the time, right? Month later, you lose your job or you got sued for $1 billion or whatever, and you lost everything. She's probably gonna be like, well, I was so used to the roses. What happened? But. And I'm not saying that just about women or men, but
Sure.
But if things are built on a poor foundation, there's nothing there.
Right. Gotcha. So what about, people say this is great and all. I'm a struggling entrepreneur, so I'm going to instill this power of broke. But what about you? Do you still have this with all the wealth that you've created? How do you create that when you have an abundance of income, essentially, what people may think? When you could put money into things and invest and try these different things, how do
I exercise the power, bro?
Yeah.
So
when you have the funds.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes an average of $60,000 to $75,000 to create a clothing line, a first sample clothing line. It takes about 9 months to get it fully done.
How many samples? Like one sample? Or
a line of, let's say, 24 pieces.
Okay.
I'm sorry, if you're paying a designer and you're not doing it yourself, I would say $150,000.
Gotcha.
Right? I don't do that. So if I have something great logo, whatever the case is, I will go and get a tailor to maybe sew up 4 pieces, an average about $1,500. Then I go and find an Instagram star or a video. If I could, I give them $1,000, maybe $3,000. I put the stuff out and I go and watch the phone. Anybody calling?
Anyone want this?
All right, you liked it? All right, let's do another shirt.
Right.
Nobody calling? We're good. Cut bait.
Sure.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right? I can put out a book called Power Broke, and I can hire a lot of great publicists and take out ads and everything else like that. Or I can reschedule 9 times with you to come over here and beg you to be on your podcast and call another 10 guys like you, Adam Corral and all these people and go out there and bust my butt and use the Power Broke myself and send it out to 100 ambassadors, call them personally and say, hey, what do you think about it? Any changes? What can I do for you?
Yeah.
Stop over the store and start just signing out of nowhere. I just pull up in Barnes & Noble and just start signing like crazy. I have to activate the Power Broke because you know what happens. When you have a sales staff and people, the number one person they're selling is you on how good of a job they're doing and how maybe you didn't give them the right materials.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So how can someone learn this? Is this something that everyone can learn? This
absolutely
mindset?
Is something that everybody can learn, and that's why in the book I don't want people to think that I have I have this magical touch, this secret sauce. And that's why, as you've seen in there are many people that you and I know that I've interviewed and I've learned from in that book. Over 15 people that have accomplished massive success in their life. You know, I love talking about the people. Rob Dyrdek, as you say, started off as a skateboarder, no money at all. Kevin Plank, the CEO of Under Armour, $4 billion annual sales, didn't have enough money to pay a toll when he started his company, so they wrote him a ticket at the toll booth. Or Mark Burnett, the head of my show, right? ABC Shark Tank. The man was special forces or one of those type of things in the military in Europe. He comes over here, first job, a nanny.
Wow.
He was a nanny. Second job, selling T-shirts on Venice Beach, right? Or let's look at, I always joke about it because I put up a post about Steve Aoki. I say, Operation Power Broke. Everybody hit me. You know, everybody judges things without reading. Steve Aoki's dad had Benihana's. He was rich. Yeah, well, that actually hurt him because when he went to the hood to play music and be down with the clique, the keep it real artist guys, they were like, take your rich butt home. Don't come around here, little rich boy.
Yeah.
And then when he went to dad and said, I need some money to do this and that, dad said, what are you doing? I came to this country with nothing. And if you don't work in this company with me, I'm not giving you a dime. So stop spinning those stupid little records. Now the man does $30 million a year, and he's the most touringest DJ in the world.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. So what do you recommend people – what's the first step in this process of learning this and understanding this? What do you recommend if people don't know? Besides reading your book, obviously. But
No, of course.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so first of all, let me be very clear, and I've had to make sure that I want to acknowledge one thing. I'm not glamorizing not having resources in your life. Right? Because we all want to be able to take care of our family and have medical and have the things and an education, things like that. So
that's why people go on Shark Tank.
Exactly, right?
To get resources.
Exactly. So don't make me say, oh, so I'm supposed to feel good about not having money. Not at all.
Sure.
But make that hunger. If you're going to be there, tap into that hunger instead of complaining or feeling sorry or thinking that something needs to happen, right?
I was just going to say it's more of an exercise of hustling essentially and using that hunger as opposed to let me just throw everything I have at it and see what works.
Right.
Yes.
And as I go through all those people, I want to show you that there's no one way to get to the level that you consider successful. But with this day and age of social media and technology, where there is no barrier to entry anymore of meeting and getting out to people, you can have what we call a proof of concept and test your idea. So I go through there step by step on what to do. So now in any business, no matter what, you need to have a proof of concept, meaning, hey, I may think that my cupcakes are tasty, but let me see how many people buy them.
Yeah.
Now, if you can't even make a cupcake, I'm sure you can film a 30-second video on your phone and tell of you making it or telling people about it. And you can get proof of concept if you have 10,000 people views your video.
Right.
Whatever, likes, whatever the case is, right? And then you take that and then improve on it and start the process, right? Before, it wasn't that easy. Necessarily.
Right.
You know, before when I made a shirt, I had to go and either sell it on the corner, sell it to somebody, and then I had to find the person the next day to sell it to them again. And then, or if I sold it to the store, who would they sell it to? Who walked by and pick it up? Unless I'm going to sit in the store all day.
And see.
Was it a woman? Was it a man? Was it a kid? Did they buy it for themselves? Was it a gift? Did they buy it to wash their car with? I have no idea. Did they haggle over the price? Now, you know. You're on the computer, you go, boop, oh, somebody bought it. It's an 18-year-old kid, lives in California, loves to skateboard, has a pit bull, and has a bad case of dandruff.
Exactly.
Right? And so this is where we are today. So you can test your concepts very, very easily, and you can then be more equipped to go out to the world, and you'll find funding. There's so many ways of getting funding now.
Yeah. I'm curious, and I don't really want to talk too much about Shark Tank, but I'm just curious. Since
we can talk about all of it.
Who has been the most inspiring person to you from the 7 seasons you've been on? The person that came on where you just they blew you away, that you wanted to go talk and learn more from them, or you were just inspired by their story so much that maybe someone you invested in or someone you didn't, or someone.
Yes. Very, very hard to say because there's so many.
Right.
And I truthfully, the person who learns the most from Shark Tank, whether the viewers or anybody else, is me. I learn from, I joke about the other sharks, but all joking aside, I learn from them, and I learn from these young men and women who are coming up here and they're doing business an entire new way.
Yeah.
And there's some in the book, there's 1 or 2 in the book, but let me think of others. I mean, there was this young lady I did a deal with for it's called Fresh Picked moccasins, leather moccasins. She went and I believe she took aluminum frame windows, and I think she went and melted down solar aluminum to make 1 pair of moccasins, and then sold more, and then made another pair of moccasins. And now she's doing a couple of $1 million. Or Little Mo, he's in the book. Little Mo Bridges, he came on the show, young man, very laser focused on making bow ties, him and his mother.
This one, yeah.
And I looked at them and remembered, and they remind me of my relationship with my mother. And he was going to do a deal and takes Kevin O'Leary's offer, which is not wrong because he came on the show to ask for capital and resources, and Kevin O'Leary stepped up to the plate. But I told him that if he would have taken that $30,000, if I would have taken that back then with the FUBU days, it would have been worth a couple of $100 million, right? Because of the percentage. So he decided to decline the deal. I became his mentor, and honestly, I barely help the kid. He helps me more than I help him because I turn on TV. He's the fashion correspondent on the NBA draft, right? Wow. Doing about $300,000 in business. I go and I take him on to CNBC one day because I say, hey, I want to introduce you to Mo, and I want to take Mo out to Fashion Week in New York. Oh, shoot. What did I forget? What's the name? What's the name of the big retailer in Dallas? That Neiman Marcus, the CEO of Neiman Marcus, one of the highest retail outlets in the world, calls the show, and I've never been in Neiman Marcus, and I pick up the phone. Yeah, how can I help you? You want my Coogee brand and all that. And she's like, let me speak to Mo. All my life, I've never talked to this person. She wanted to speak to Mo.
Wow.
So
amazing.
Very inspiring.
That's very cool. What would you say is a ritual that as a non-negotiable for you every single day? Something you do in the morning or at night or throughout the day? Something every day that you do?
I read my goals. I read my goals, not every day, but I read them 5 days a week. I read them in the morning when I wake up, and I read them at night before I go to sleep. I have 9 goals that range from business to health to family. 6 of them expire every 6 months, and and 2 of them. 6 of them expire in 6 months. 2 of them expire in 5 years, and 1 expires in 20. And they're very, very detailed in what they are, and the reason is I want them to be the last thing I think about when I go to bed. And I reset them every 6 months. But I notice that as the date comes up, I start to have this anxiety. All right,
if you haven't achieved it yet.
Yeah, if you haven't achieved it, and most of them you're not going to achieve if you really set aggressive ones, but you're going to get there 50, 60, 70%. Right? Yeah. Bang, then reset it for a longer period of time with a higher goal to reach.
Okay. What got you into setting goals, or what's the process for you, and why is this so important?
The third time it settled in, I read this book the first time when I was 16. The third time I read the book, I was 19. I read the book every year, Think and Grow Rich.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
They're doing a documentary right now. Did they approach you?
No, they didn't. I mean, they sent me some leather bags, some really special ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, they maybe they don't know how to get a hold of me. It's pretty hard.
Well, if you want, let me know.
Yeah.
They reached out to me to do an interview.
I would love it.
Yeah. It's a great book.
Absolutely.
Got a couple of them up there, yeah.
Yeah, so many editions. If we can only be so lucky to be like Napoleon Hill, right?
It's amazing.
So that's where it is, and the ritual is pretty simple. It's if I say, hey, I need to lose X amount of pounds, by this date, I'm going to, and then what's the process? Well, I'm going to drink 6 bottles of water. I'm going to drink 1 green drink a day. I'm going to do cardio in the morning, and if I can slip in some weight training at night, I'm not going to eat out to 7 p.m. I'm not going to eat fried foods and or meat. And in return for that, I will be healthier, and I will be able to live a longer, prosperous life and be in my daughter's lives longer, and to make sure that I'm there for them. So, what is the goal? How are you going to get to that point? When does it expire?
Yep.
And what is the reward for the goal?
Sure. Why, I do 6 and 12 months goals myself. Why do you think 6 months? I think you said a year or 5 years and then 20.
Yeah.
Why that time frame for you?
This is the time frame I picked. So I think 6 months is a reasonable time to accomplish something and or say to yourself, what's wrong with you? You've been talking this crap for 6 months, right? I think that also in 6 months you can see the change, because if I sit there every morning and I sit there and say I'm going to have a green drink or a banana for breakfast, then that's one less time that I'm going to have that everything bagel with sour cream and salmon and all that stuff. Right. And by the time the 6 months go, I've probably done that 40 times, 90 times, and you start to see the difference in what it is. So the 5-year one, I want to be somewhere in, what are we going to do in 5 years? I don't know. And then 20-year
Yeah.
one is always going to be about that kind of, as you look over, as I look over my family and my
Your
health and
legacy.
my
And,
legacy to some extent. And hopefully,
Sure.
hopefully then I have to reset the 21, the
Right.
20
Sure,
year goal.
Can you share with us one of them, or did he keep them pretty private?
No, I share with you one a little bit.
Yeah.
The losing weight
Yeah,
one. When I get back into my training mode, that's what I am.
Right.
That's what I do.
Do you have a specific weight you want to get at?
Usually when I shoot Shark Tank, I'm always at 168.
Why 168? Is that just the weight you are
That's
at?
just the way my body works, right? I get
Yeah.
to 168, and then when I'm off season, I usually get up to about 185 during the winter, and then if I'm really like traveling too much, can't do it, I can get as high as 193.
You like to hibernate. You like
No,
to
you know what? It's just being on the road, bad sleeping
Yeah,
habits. You know what I
it's
mean?
tough, man.
And it's just hard.
I'm sure this book launch is not helping you either.
No, not at all. Not at
I
all.
love it. I love it. What's another ritual in the morning that you do? Let's say when you're in your home, you're in a good routine, you're not traveling. What's another part of the ritual that you follow?
It's gonna be getting up, and it's gonna be it's answering emails. I mean,
Yeah.
because you
Like
want
there's so
to.
many opportunities.
You want to you just want to get them out of the way before you get to the office, because you're never going to get to them after that.
Yeah.
My next book is probably going to be called Death by Email. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Sure.
I don't know. These emails, man, kill me.
What do you think's something that wealthy individuals, that people that you've been around who have built multi-million-dollar businesses or billionaires, what do you think are 2 or 3 things that they think or do differently than people that don't make that?
The billionaires I've seen, they, first of all, I'm not saying it because of the book, but they use
The power bro.
the power bro.
Sure.
They'll spend $1 billion on a party, because that's a party, but they're very disciplined, and they won't spend that on launching a company. They will act like they don't have anything. With a mentality, number one. Number two is they write down everything.
Really?
They write down everything. We got into this day and age where people are typing in their smartphones. They physically write down everything. And I remember one of them said to me, the dullest pencil will always remember more than the sharpest mind, which is a very, 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 very well-known quote. And usually what they write, I noticed that they write how to save the most on taxes.
Really?
Yeah, they usually write that because tax codes change often, all right? And investments have certain tax benefits or not, whether philanthropy or whatever the case is. And they look at it like this. They go, well, I can either start, I'm putting in my pocket $200 million a year, argument's sake. I can either go and start a new business, right, that I need to go and, and maybe I'll get up to $100 million, $200 million, then I pay taxes on it. Or how do I save on that 40 or 30% of taxes that I'm going to have to pay away because I already have the money? Why lose it? And they concentrate on that all the time, and
Wow.
they're looking at everything. And then the last thing is, when I always talk to them, when we have conversations, they think purely on a global scale. We'll sit there and say, how many people can I get to walk by my plumber's, my service place, in Manhattan on the street.
Right.
And they'll sit there and say, how many cars are in the world? They're really thinking like that. They're like, how many cars are in the world? How much have exhaust comes out of them? Exhaust pipe, carry the 4, 9. That's how they are.
Sure. Okay. Interesting. You talk about mentorships. Life's about mentorships.
Yeah.
You've had many great mentors over the years.
Absolutely.
Who have you yet to have mentorship from that you would love to be mentored by? Or is that not something you think about right now? Like, if you could be mentored by anyone right now in the world, who would that be? That you're not already getting it from?
Very, very tough. I'm mentored by really amazing people. Jay Abraham.
He's a brilliant marketing guy.
So many really amazing people. I don't have a mentor. Maybe I met him once or twice. Richard Branson, I think.
Yeah.
The reason why is because he said something pretty fascinating. I didn't know Richard Branson is dyslexic like I am.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Couldn't really read it all growing up.
I'm saying 4 out of the 6 sharks are dyslexic.
Wow.
Richard Branson is dyslexic, and he also somebody who, because I used to always say to myself, should I really focus on making FUBU Nike and try to go there and set my goals for that? Or am I too close to it? And Richard Branson has 300 companies, and he said he's an entrepreneur that gets bored fairly quickly, and he loves the process of new companies, bringing the fundamentals of what he knows over to a new process and the discovery of that. And as I looked at myself and I said, yeah, I have FUBU. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Amazing. But I have 10 other clothing brands, and now I'm on Shark Tank, and I love this. I love I'm dyslexic. I love the process. And I think that we have when I heard him speak, I just realized I have so much in common with that guy.
So why haven't you reached out to get the mentorship yet?
Well, because first of all, I also do believe in mentorship, that you should be with somebody who's extremely accessible. I don't know if he's accessible, but I know one thing. I'm not accessible because I'm so busy.
Yeah.
So I don't want the guy
to have the time to get it.
Hey, man, I'll be the mentorship. And I'm like, yeah, I'll schedule you
6 months.
He'd be like, then you just ask me for a favor? You know what I'm saying? Why are you so pushy? You know what I mean? Time is time, baby.
I love that.
So.
Okay. Who's been the most influential mentor for you through the business side of things?
I would think Jay Abraham has been.
Really?
Yeah, because it's really no.
In terms of scaling, or
very hard. Really, all of them. I can't say that any one person helped me more than the other. I can't say any one person didn't have the knowledge. My mother helped me in the beginning. My stepfather Steve, and then my amazing partners over at FUBU. I have my 3 friends who've been there all my life for me. They've helped me when the times are tough, and I've learned from them. And then our other partners over on the other side of FUBU. So I don't know. And
they've all been great.
Amazing.
I'm curious about entrepreneurs that are looking to raise money, and you get pitched, I'm sure, every day.
I do.
By different entrepreneurs, whether it be email or in person, in the elevator or whatever. They're probably pitching you, right?
Sure.
What's a couple of things that, one, turn you off? No matter, like every time it happens, you're like, nope, not even going to talk to you anymore. Don't even open your mouth.
Yep.
And then what are a few things that are like, tell me more?
Things that turn me off is the fact that they don't have proof of concept. They just think it's a good idea, and it's my job to help you create the proof of concept. So you're too lazy to do it. By the way, I have 100 ideas in my head too that I can own 100% of. So why?
Yeah.
Number one. Number two
so
is
get a proof of concept.
Proof of concept.
Show
right?
that there's a buzz.
Yeah.
Something.
If you don't have proof of concept, and they go, well, I don't know how to get it started. Well, then that's what you're going to be telling me when it is started and you don't know how to take it to the next step. I got my own headaches. Leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one is, this is a $50 billion market. And if I only get 1%, oh, my God. The bankruptcy market is a $1 trillion market, and I promise you're going to get 1% with that attitude.
Right.
Okay. Those are the things that turn me off. The things that get me excited are, I tried this and I failed. I tried this and I failed. I tried this and I failed. And then I finally, bang, found out the best way to do this. And I found out because all these other things that I failed at doing in this area, this one, I knew I was on to something.
Yeah.
Somebody who's willing to admit their failure, because any successful entrepreneur knows that you are going to fail more than you succeed, right? That one, of course, that's it. And then the other one is proof of concept.
Right.
That's it. You have the right to make up your own opinion, but not the right to make up your own facts.
Right.
So, and you see that happen all the time. Kevin O'Leary will go, yeah. how many did you sell that stupid thing right there? And they like $1 million worth. He's like, you're not too stupid now.
Right. He's like, oh.
Sales cures all, right?
Yeah.
You are not looking too stupid now.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, there's a halo over that person's head.
Right, but it sounds like for you, it would have to be proof of concept that they failed a bunch and now they hit something, but also it would have to be like something you're interested in for you that you're excited about. You're like,
no, I have to have an
you don't
interest.
care about like women's dresses or something, or I don't know.
I have to have an interest in it.
Yeah.
100%. I have to have an interest because you know what? If I don't have a full interest in it, maybe I'm a customer.
Right.
And listen. The power broke theory is don't spread yourself too thin. You can't do every single thing in the world. And people think because I have access to capital that people like us just walk around and buy everything. No. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I like that locker. I want to invest in a company. No, man. You don't have time for that because investing is you then got to answer the phone call every time. Yeah. And so, I get all the time on Shark Tank. Oh, that person had some great idea. Why didn't you invest in the company?
Only time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much of your time is managing other entrepreneurs that you partner with, whether through Shark Tank or off of Shark Tank that you've, because our friend Nathan, you've invested in CrossFit gyms and other things like that. How much of your time every day is picking up the phone and just being an advisor or setting up meetings for people?
Yeah, I look at, besides my companies, I really look at, it takes about 6 months out of my life, all the investments. And I have
for the year.
Yeah, and I have really, really amazing partners that allow my businesses to run, and again, I could probably do more business in my business if I do, but these other opportunities that I'm in, whether I win or lose, they're teaching me about an entire new way of doing business. If I wasn't on Shark Tank, or if I didn't do investments like Nate in CrossFit, I would never have an insight on the new way that the world is operating. I would have still been the FUBU guy going, hey, J.C. Penney's or Macy's, please buy my shirt. Mm-hmm. Hey, how you doing on social media? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'd have been at the mercy of everybody else.
Yeah. Okay. Couple questions left for you. That's cool. What's the question no one ever asks you that you wish they asked? Or is there a question?
No, I've been asked some really tough questions throughout these podcasts lately, because guys like you have been talking to Tony Robbins and guys with enormous brains. So your brains get bigger as you speak, and I've been asked a lot of tough questions. So I'm not asking for somebody to ask me questions.
Okay, perfect. What's the biggest piece of advice besides the Power of Broke, which I want everyone to make sure to go get? What's the biggest piece of advice that you would give yourself just starting out on top of this?
Oh, yeah. Listen, trust me, you and I doing the podcast, I'm not trying to make it a big wet kiss about the Power of Broke. I'm fine with that. I want to make sure that I didn't put in the book, or I did put in the book, and whether I did or not, the advice that I would give the younger Daymond John is make sure you have financial intelligence. I don't care even you're going to be an entrepreneur working for a company, whatever the case is. I don't care if you have money or you don't have money. Money is so hard to make, and it's 10 times harder to keep, and it's a tool. And I almost lost too many times because I was so eager to make the money and I didn't have financial intelligence. And many people say, well, Daymond, you didn't go to school or college, and should I? And the fundamentals of business are the fundamentals of business, and you need to go and study finance no matter what. And a perfect example of that is all the athletes that 3 years out of the league, over 60% of them are broke, right? Yeah. How the Powerball people, some of them are going to be broke fairly quickly, 3 years, right? And it's because just, if you really look at an anatomy of a bankruptcy or something that, like, if you and if I had, $300,000, I'm going to probably buy a $50,000 house. I'm going to buy a little car for $20,000, whatever the case is. If an athlete has $50 million, they're going to buy a $7 million house, and they're going to buy a bunch of cars, but it's the same house. Yeah. It's just a bigger bill.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to understand about compounding interest and all the things that they need to do in life to make it, because money is just a tool.
Yeah. What's the best book you would recommend for someone to be more financially intelligent? If there was one book to read to hopefully understand a lot of these principles when they didn't know them, what would
Well,
you pick?
I think that I haven't read it yet. Everybody's talking really amazing about Tony
It's
Robbins'
a great book.
new book,
Master
right?
the Game. Yeah, Money
Yeah.
Master the Game.
Okay, I haven't read that. And again, dyslexic.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you listen to audiobook
Yeah.
probably, right? I gotta get the audiobook. Of course, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
I know, no, not Think. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah. Okay.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a staple for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. 3 final questions.
Yeah.
What are you most grateful for recently in your life?
What am I most grateful for recently in my life? In my personal life, I'm grateful that everybody has their health. I haven't had any loss. I've seen a lot of loss in my life growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Whether people were incarcerated or they lost their lives at a very early age due to violence or drugs, and that hasn't been an issue with anybody in my life. So. And I know it's inevitable, right?
Right.
And so that's what happens. So I think on that, on a personal issue, recently on a business tip, I don't know. Of course, my appointment to the White House, I never thought I would be meeting and sitting with the president. I've met the last 3 presidents of this great country,
Wow.
and who would ever thought that, right?
Right.
So business-wise, I would say that is one of them. And then another really great year of Shark Tank for the reason, though, that when I see that it's one of the top shows watched from kids 5 to 15 and one of the top shows watched parents and kids together. And when I see people come up to me and say, you know what, my daughter wants to be be a shark as much as she stopped caring about being an actress, a singer, and a dancer. Or an athlete, nothing wrong with that. She wants to be a shark. Or when a mother comes to me and says, my son finally came up to me and said, Mommy, I know what you do now at work. When you see that, or people say, I decided to start a business and I'm empowering myself, and you see that a show like that everybody said would never work, got almost canceled, 7 years in, and people are religiously following it. When you see us changing lives, that's why Mark Cuban does it.
Yeah.
People always wonder, why does Mark Cuban do it? He don't need investments, right? Yeah. He doesn't need any more TV time. You always see him on basketball show, right? He does it because it's really empowering. What am I talking about? This is what you do. You empower people, and it's just amazing.
That's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
And what would you say is your biggest fear moving forward?
It's always going to be health related. It's always going to be, why has God has really, really blessed me for too long, right? I was a kid. I was hanging out. I don't know how many times I was doing things that kids do, right?
Yeah.
And why am I still just cranking along, right? I'm almost 50 years old right now, right? And
still a young man.
Yeah, I am. But I've seen people, not because of, now I'm talking about violence or anything else like that. I've seen people just curl over and have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I know last year, I think I remember counting within 3 months 11 people that passed away and they did not realize it. Whether it was, unfortunately, in the beginning of the book, I dedicate something to my venture capitalist, who's an amazing man named David Freshman. He's the one that all my Shark Tank people had to, once we did the deal, they had to vet the deal with David, all right? And David truly believed in entrepreneurship ever since from day one, and he's always somebody who was a venture capitalist, but one who taught kids and people of color on how to get into this business. And amazing guy. He called me and said, "Hey, I'm ready to fight the biggest battle of my life, right now." And I found out I have pancreatic cancer, and within a very short time, he's no longer with us.
Wow.
And I met I know about 11 people that faced that last year. So you never know when we're going to be, when the good man's going to call for us. And hopefully Dave is down here protecting me now. Now he's my ultimate venture capitalist protector.
Right, exactly. Final couple questions. It's the end of the day for you, as we're talking about that.
Yeah.
Many, many years from now. And all of your books have been erased. Shark Tank has been deleted. All your brands are gone.
Yeah.
And your closest friends and family are there. and you've got a piece of paper and a pen, and they say there's nothing else to remember you by except for this piece of paper and what you write down. And they ask you to write down 3 truths, the 3 things you know to be true about your experience in life and what they could see as a roadmap for their lives moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
What would you put down as those 3 truths for what's coming up for you right in this moment?
Treated everybody with respect that deserved it. Knew that it was, realized that it was my job to help inspire and or move people forward, and never compromised any of my beliefs, good, bad, or indifferent.
I love that. Final question before I ask it. I want to make sure everyone goes and gets the book. Check it out. Power of Broke by Daymond John. And where can we connect with you online? Where are you hanging out with the most? Your website or?
Listen, I'm on powerbroke.com. I'm on DaymondJohn.com, and social media wise, I am on Twitter at the Shark Daymond, Snapchat at the Shark Daymond, Facebook at the Shark Daymond, and
Instagram.
Instagram.
Which one's your favorite one to hang out? Where do you spend more time on?
Listen, I listen to Gary Vee, and I wear a different outfit when I'm in different ones. When I'm in Facebook, I'm at the family reunion. I'm on Instagram. Yeah. I'm wearing the skinny jeans with the curly mustache. I'm all hipsterish. I'm on Twitter. I'm just kind of out in the park rolling around, and I'm on Snapchat. I don't really know what I'm doing just yet on Snapchat.
I saw you post a photo of Gary Vee on your Instagram, promoting his Snapchat.
Yeah.
He sent me that same text
with
the photo, and I saw him post. Everyone was posting that. I was like, "This guy's a hustler.
He's a monster.
He's a good buddy of mine too, and he's got a book coming out in a few months.
Absolutely.
He's probably hitting you up for that already.
Not yet, but I'm waiting.
It's coming.
I'm waiting, man, because I'm here.
Yeah, of course. Okay, cool. Well, I want to ask the final question then. Before I do, I want to acknowledge you, Daymond, for your incredible service to the world. I think it's incredible what you've created as an example. You're really a symbol of inspiration for so many people.
Well, thank
you. When you were 20, hustling in your basement, sewing up hats, to consistently over 30 years being true to who you are and sharing your message and voice with the world, not just keeping it to yourself, but sharing your wisdom through your books, what you say on TV, really inspiring people. So I want to acknowledge you for showing up in a powerful way every single day.
I never looked at it like that, but I definitely appreciate it, and I think that I'm humbled by it, but I think that I'm very, very little comparison to so many people we meet.
Sure.
Mother Teresa and so many amazing, amazing people. Our everyday teachers who are not recognized and underpaid, who take care of our kids. I hung out with my kids for a week. I wanted to kill myself. They hang out with our kids for 8 months.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
But thank you.
Yeah, of course. My final question is, what's your definition of greatness?
Ooh, definition of greatness. I don't know. I would say my definition of greatness is, I guess it's greatest of all time, shocking the world, making people think that, surprising everybody and doing something that everybody thought you couldn't do, and feeling good about it. Just, testing yourself. I mean, I read a really great quote the other day, and it said, the only person that you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Right? And I think that's greatness, testing yourself and knowing you left it all in the field and you gave it your all and not complaining about whatever happened.
Love it. Daymond John, thanks so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this interview. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to share it with your friend. Leave a comment and a like below. And also, we've got a lot of previous interviews on this channel. So click right here to go watch the previous interviews. And each week, we come out with more episodes, inspirational videos, and interviews. So if you haven't subscribed yet, click right here to subscribe to this channel. Again, thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you guys soon.